What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Ask a CISSP. This is the Thursday episode of The Other Side of the Firewall, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass cylinder breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and today I am joined by Tim Tipton Jr. What's going on, sir?
Pleasure to be here with you, man. Pleasure to be here.
Man, for those who don't know behind the scenes, this has been a struggle. I've canceled on Tim several times due to life events, and he has been a gracious and patient guest and has rocked with me to finally getting here to talk. But in my defense, since then, you've written 2 more books.
Hey, so the timing couldn't have been better.
Right.
That was divine intervention right there.
Yeah. So again, gracious guest. I'm very happy to have you on the episodes. What I would like to introduce you as is cybersecurity architect, author of 3 published books. I know you have another one ready to drop any day now, as well as you are a Air Force veteran, and then just cybersecurity. I'd say futurist, visionary, whatever titles you want to carry, but. Again, you're doing amazing things in the field. I've been seeing what you've been doing, and I could not wait to get you on the episode. So, with that being said, I'd like you to break down who you are, where you're from, and then we can go into your cybersecurity origin story.
I'll say the honor is mine. It's beautiful to see what you've created here and how you've continually built more life into it, right, after bringing it to life. So, the honor is mine to be here. You already introduced me, Tim Tipton Jr. I always throw the junior on there when I'm doing anything outstanding, so that way my pops don't go and take credit for whatever I'm doing.
There it is.
Because he already looks like me, so the last thing I need is for him to be like, oh yeah, that was me that did it.
I did that.
I am, kind of like you mentioned, a cybersecurity architect, strategize, anything cybersecurity related to make it more accessible, easily understood, and better received by the culture as a whole, right? Whether it be people trying to break into the field, whether it be people trying to just understand the field so that way they can work better with cybersecurity professionals, or even just organizations that are struggling because they're underserved because of whatever demographic they may fall into, right? I feel like it's on us to be able to make it more accessible to them and bring that vision forward and bring that strategy to them as something that's readily available for them. Based out of Vegas.
That's awesome.
Originally from Chicago, no family yet, but that's why I'm doing all of this now, so that way whenever I do have a family,
knock it out,
I got cool stories to tell them.
That's what's up, man. So because you're Air Force guy, right? Just like me and Shannon, as well as Daniel. So was the Vegas move like that last stateside assignment, or?
It's actually funny. So Nellis in Vegas was my very first duty station. I joined the Air Force at 17, and it had been a period of time since the last time I had seen my mom. So I called her one day and I was like, hey, you want to move out to Vegas? Like, if you sell everything and drive across the country, I'll have somewhere for you to live when you get here. So she did just that. She sold everything except for a couple TVs, put her and my little brother in the car. By the time they made it to Vegas, because she drove across the country from Chicago, by the time they made it out here, she had a place to live, and this has been a second home ever since, because, there's no place like where your mom is. So,
got you.
Once I separated from the Air Force, they had moved me all around. My last duty station was bowling out in Washington, D.C. Okay. And I was like, hey, I can go anywhere at this point, right? 100% disabled veteran, cybersecurity, pretty much work from anywhere. I was like, I want to go back where my mom is. I need to be able to, go over and get a hug from time to time and just feel like everything's okay.
No, that's what's up. And bravo to you for providing that the ability for her to do that. Like, hey, you drop everything. I'm here. We can figure this out. So that's definitely dope. Do you miss Chicago? Like, it's cold there. It's windy. I only been there a couple times.
See, so after living in Vegas for so long, I can honestly say I miss the cold at this point.
Man.
I miss the black ice at this point. But I think what I miss most about it is the food. Right?
Gotcha.
Like, I still have family out there. Family's cool and everything, but my mom and my little brother are the priority, but I miss the food the most.
Got you. Yeah, I saw a report, hopefully this doesn't date us in the future. Somebody be like, oh, Vegas is that hot. I saw on the news that tires were getting stuck to the road, and I was like, "Yo, that's," because I've been there and it's dry heat, but I was like, it never tires on stuck to the road. That's too hot.
Especially, I had one of my friends. She didn't take any care of her tires at all, so she let them get bald, no tread on them, and that was it. It was one day, I think it was like 115, 117 degrees outside. She couldn't go anywhere. Tire was stuck to her.
Yo, that's wild. 'Cause, so I was there, oh man, I can't remember, early 2000s. I went to Fort Huachuca.
Okay.
There's not much there, right? But I went there for a Solaris class, and I was driving down the road, and I was seeing all these cactus, and they were burnt. So I was like, "That's weird. Like, do they like burn them to like prune them or something like that?" So I talked to somebody. He was like, "No, no, no. It's so hot they catch fire." I was like, "Yo, they're full of water. Like, how hot do you have to be?" So I was like, "It's
How
too
you
hot
gotta
here."
be to dehydrate cacti and then burn.
Yeah. Like, so I can only imagine what 115. That's like X-ray hot heat. I can't even imagine that.
you know, I got a
No, no,
new
go ahead.
I got a new appreciation for it after my first deployment, because my first deployment was to Kuwait, and you step outside of the tent or the building, it's 145 degrees outside, and it feels like a blow dryer just going in your face, and it's just like, yeah, I can't do this. I wasn't meant for this.
That's crazy. Some places you're just like, it's way too hot for humans to be here, but people thrive there. I'm just like, yo, how are we doing that? Like we're resilient. But speaking of resilient, so you have a cybersecurity company. I want to definitely uh, dive into that as well as your books. But what was your cyber origin story? Like, what kicked you into cybersecurity? Like, was it your job in the Air Force, or like how did you get to this side of the field?
So I graduated high school at the age of 15,
Wow. Okay.
and when I graduated, nobody in Chicago was looking to hire a 15-year-old black kid. Like, that's just how it was, right?
Gotcha.
So I started just making music, and I was getting placements off of that. But my mom wanted me to actually do something with all the late night studying and everything. So she was like, "You gotta do something with your life. You gotta get out of my house." And I was like, I don't just want to go to college, right? Because I wanted something that would stimulate me more. So at that point, it turned into, okay, I turned 17 on a Friday. That very following Monday, I was in the recruiter's office
Wow.
stating that
Okay.
the job that I want is cybersecurity, EDOX3, right? I hadn't talked to anybody that was actually in about what the career field entailed. All I knew was what was on the Air Force's website for cybersecurity,
Right.
right? And it just sounded so cool to me. And it hit all the check marks of I won't have to work outside in the heat or the cold, right?
Right.
I won't be actually working on computers, so I'm not going to be help desk. I'm not going to be a system admin. I'll be actually working on the security controls themselves, and that just seems so dynamic and creative to me. So I was like, that's what I want to do. But I went into his office, and it was Staff Sergeant Pierre. I love this dude to this day, right? I go into his office, and he's like, well, we're going to see what you get on this ASVAB before I even let you tell me what career field you want, right?
Gotcha.
So I take it, I get a 92 on the practice ASVAB. I come out of there and I tell him, and he's like, you can have whatever career field you want. And I was like, bet, I want 3DOX3. So they take me, I go take the actual ASVAB, come back, get the same exact score, right? And he was like, well, I can get you off the basic training next week if you want to take, maintenance or ammo or
Right.
something. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll wait.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
So I waited 8 months until he called me, right? And he called me January 10th, I want to say. He was like, you leave for basic in a week and a half, right? And I was like, all right, say less, right? He's like, you don't need time to, prep or anything. I was like, nope, I'm ready to go. I'll come stay at MEPS until they're ready to send me out if that's
Right. That's what it takes.
so. I get there, get through basic, right? And the funny part about it is, so for 3DOX3, you need a top secret clearance. They're doing the background investigation and basic training, and they pull us into the side, and they're still trying to keep that bearing of, there's that distinct line between, or degree of separation between the trainees and anybody else there. But they couldn't keep a straight face when they came to me and they were like, we can't find anybody to talk to about your history besides your family. Like, we need friends or acquaintances or something. I was like, I don't have any friends. Like, I don't have any acquaintances. And they were
Gotcha.
like, well, if we talk to your family and they say something different, then you're going to be in trouble. And then I was like, talk to God, talk to whoever you need to. So they talked to my great grandma, my great aunties, everybody, and they were like, nope, he doesn't have any friends because I didn't have any friends or anybody that could talk to what I did in my free time. And it was
Gotcha.
the easiest background investigation that the investigator said he ever had because he was like, I couldn't talk to anybody. There was nothing to
Right.
find on you. Like, I didn't have a library card. I didn't have a credit score at the time. I had nothing. But got through basic training, got to tech school, get through IT fundamentals, and get to Security Plus boot camp, right? That 2 week training course. We get there for day shift. And I remember this so vividly, right? I get there to day shift, sit down, I'm like, okay, I got 2 weeks left here in Keesler, Mississippi, in this humidity, right? Before I can get to Vegas. Lo and behold, four tech sergeants walk in the room, right? They're like, we're one Bravos and we get priority in the class. So the instructor's like, well, we have a full class, so four of the trainees have to leave. She asked for volunteers, a couple people volunteered, and she was like, okay, don't make me pick the last person.
Mhm.
I avoid eye contact and everything. She ends up picking me. And I'm like, man. I'm marching slow back to the dorm rooms and everything. Get back, and the MTL is like, okay, you guys don't have another class that you can go into right now, so you're going to be on bay duty, like,
Right.
getting and mopping and cleaning up the dorms and everything. And I'm just like, this is not what I envisioned for my life.
Yeah.
So a couple hours later, he calls us down. He's like, well, we got you guys in the T shift. So you're going on night shift. I was like, perfect. So we get there for that first night, and the instructor is straight up with us. He's like, you can sleep in this class, but if we see you sleeping and you fail, we aren't going to give you another chance to take it. I took that risk. I took that risk, man. So I brought a pillow with me in my book bag every night to class, and I slept. And the only
Wow.
time I would lift my head from that pillow is if I was turning it over to the cool side. We get there, the class before us had gotten in trouble, so we had to take our actual exam in blues, full service dress. We get there, instructor's like, okay, you slept the entire time, so you better pray to whoever you pray to that you pass this test. I was like, me and God locked in. I'll be all right. I go in there. I'm the first person done, right? And there was a part of me that was like, okay, I am a little bit concerned, but I've already hit submit, so it's up in the
Right.
air
It
at this
it
point.
is what it is.
Get done. The lady's like, hold on, give me a second. She goes and she checks the area that I was just testing in. She was like, roll up your sleeves for me, empty your pockets and everything. And then I was like, okay. Then she was like, did you cheat? And then I was like, no. And then she was like, you got a perfect score on this
Wow.
thing. So it was literally a 900 out of 900. I walked out. I was like, look, I'm just happy I passed. I don't care what I got. I was just
Right.
happy I
Right.
passed. So when I told the instructor, he was like, no way. No way. And that's how the journey started.
Got you. No, like you picked the best, career field when it comes to cyber. Like a lot of us cross. Like I was a 3D one. We changed again. I was 2E2, then 3D, and then I think we when I left, I was a I don't know. Regardless, same job, right? But cybersecurity is like almost a one-to-one crossover. Like people who do cybersecurity usually can walk right into the field because you're actually doing cyber things, right? Like one Bravo is like fairly new. They also um, do it as well, but it's a little bit harder for us more IT centric folks to make that conversion. So no, you seem to have a really good head on your shoulders to be so young. Like obviously extremely smart, driven. So like was some of that drive instilled in you, or is that because I met a lot of really smart people, and it's a crapshoot. Like some of them are lazy, right? But they're smart. Some of them are like overachievers, and you're just like, yo, like the one guy who was a doctor, special forces, and astronaut. You meet those type of people, you be like, yo, you won, all right. So, but you seem to be very well balanced and driven. So, like, where does that come from?
I'd say it was my mom, man. It was definitely my mom. It was my mom and God, obviously, but My mom was a single mother. She raised me and my little brother by herself, and me and my little brother have different dads. And it was just watching her go through and maneuver through everything. It seemed as if she always had a plan. And talking to her now, she said a lot of it she was just winging it, but it was the way she made her decisions intentionally and stood behind them, to where in my mind it was like, okay, I want to study that and understand how she made those decisions, why she made them, what third party impacts they had. So for me, I took that to the next level of, okay, I'm going to stand behind my decisions and be completely full in on them, but I'm also going to take the knowledge that I do have and try and make sure I understand everything that can come down the
Right.
road before I make these decisions, right? So I'm very intentional about, and this may seem bad, but I psychoanalyze everyone in my life to the point of just being able to understand why they do what they do, so
Right.
that way any decisions that I make or any happenings or events in my life that may involve them, I can factor in and account for any variances or possibilities that involve them, right? And that's why, when I went into the Air Force, it was like, okay, they handle a lot of those things for me, to where all I really have to focus on is what I want at the end goal,
Right.
right? They tell you what to wear. They tell you what your job's going to be. They give you all the regulations, the SOPs, and everything, so you don't necessarily have to think about that stuff. You can just run on autopilot. It's about
Gotcha.
being creative and articulating it in a manner to where, the general doesn't give his EA his CAC so that way she can go take his security awareness
Right.
training for him or whatever it may be. Right? I'd say it was my mom. She was very hard on us in the aspect of, if I even got an A minus, she gave me hell over it. It was,
Gotcha.
you're better than this. You can do better than this. Got a lot of whoopings for B's. So it was always, okay, let's make sure we locked in and stay locked in. And as I became an adult, it just turned into just carrying that over versus allowing myself to lose it.
Got you. No, yeah, you seem very, very logical, very procedural. I like to tell people because sometimes I feel as though um, I may come across as not trusting, but I like to measure 10 times and cut once, right? Like, why am I continuously over here hacking at something when I could just try to, it may not be perfect,
Get
but
the
at least
first
it's
part.
better than just wink. You know what I mean? Like, because some people can do it. I'm not, like when you take the four lenses test, was it uh, gold and blue. Like I check boxes. I care about, the people's feelings and whatnot. No orange. I don't take risks. That's not like I get a zero in that category. They're like, hey, like this doesn't even make sense. Like usually somebody will get a one. Like, no, I don't do that. So that's awesome. So when it comes to, because you talked about creativity and the titles of your books are very creative as well. So like the first one that caught my eye, and I think it is your first book, is cybersecurity with the cyber spelled PSYBER, right, for psychology, the interplay of minds and machines. And then this year, that was two, 2024. And then this year, you dropped two more on us, right? You have the synaptic web, neuroplasticity in an interconnected world, as well as quantum rift, rewiring cybersecurity with nonlinear thinking. So first off, I wrote one book and I was just like, is that what it feels like to have a baby? I'm joking, ladies. I kid.
Carrying it to term and everything.
But it was rough, right? It's not it's no small feat. But you're over here dropping banger after banger. Is it that you passion or is it just like I have something to say and I definitely want to get it out there to the masses? Like what makes you push yourself in this craft and, not go crazy in doing so?
I'd say it's a little bit of both, that passion and that need to share. I'm very passionate about the knowledge that I have is not mine and mine alone, right? I didn't get to where I am by just reading the regulations in the books. I got to where I am from learning through other people, whether it be, how they did certain things correctly or appropriately, or somebody doing something completely wrong. And I learned from that and just, revised it into how we take the appropriate approach to something. And I feel like in this field, there's a lot of gatekeeping, right?
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, no
you you
doubt.
see a lot of people charging, $5,000, $6,000 for a 2 hour training course on a weekend to tell people how to break into cyber, right? And I feel like with me, it's really just, hey, how can I put this out there in a manner that is one, easily accessible, but also legitimate and valid, right?
Right.
I didn't want to just drop white papers anymore. I didn't want to just write blogs anymore. I didn't want to just do the talks, right? I wanted to put it out there in a manner to where even when I was speaking at FutureCon yesterday in Salt Lake City, because of the fact that they're books now, there was one gentleman, he's going for his doctorate in cybersecurity, and he was like, I would love to use some of the excerpts from it in my dissertation
Oh,
because
awesome.
it's out there
Yeah.
on Amazon and everything. And I was like, that's what I did it for, right? Like, I did it for you. I did it for the people that want to get that understanding.
Right.
So, yeah, it's everything that's up here. I'm a brain dump kind of guy, right? So,
Got
like,
you.
if I had the chance, I just write it all out. But I've been really intentional about mapping it to, hey, how can I turn this into something that can live beyond me, right? Something to where when I have kids, they can come in and they can pick it up and they can be like, Pops was spitting, Granddad was spitting, like he was
Right.
talking, or even with cybersecurity, the reason that I did that, and it was kind of selfish, when I separated from the Air Force, I started going to therapy at that point, right?
Got it.
And my therapist, she was struggling to understand the stressors that I faced as a cybersecurity professional. Because you hear about the glamour of it, being able to work from
Right.
home, being able to work asynchronously, like you have that trust, you get to help create certain things, but there's stressors that are associated with everything that we do in cybersecurity, whether people want to acknowledge them or not. And a part of it was me just writing down the stressors, and then I sent her a copy of the book, and she was like, this makes so much sense now. Like, I
There you
can
go.
actually turn this into something else. And then it also helps people wanting to get into the field, right? Like in the very beginning of cybersecurity, I break down the different types of roles within cybersecurity that people can pursue. And I feel like that's been such a huge help to people because it's just like, oh, I thought, cybersecurity was just a single career field. No, you could be everything from a vulnerability manager to a SOC analyst to a pen tester to working in GRC to a security architect and engineer, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people initially don't think of that, or they overthink it, where it's like, oh, I need to be able to, like, and not to deter anyone, but it could become overwhelming pretty quickly. So you're like, oh, I got to get my GitHub going. I got to learn how to pen test. I got to do capture the flag. And what's this GRC thing over here? And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, kind of pick a lane. Like they're all going to touch each other at a certain point, but just pick a lane. You can't do everything, or you could, but it's gonna be stressful. But no, it's funny that you say that. I try to use the analogy, and it's not a good one, but I was like, imagine you're in a room that's on fire. Everything's on fire. The floor is on fire, the desks are on fire, the fire extinguisher's on fire, and there's people in the room, they have no concept what fire is, and they keep touching stuff. It's like, how stressful would that be? I know what fire is. You're trying to explain it to them, but they just keep touching the fire.
Exactly. And then every fire is a different kind of fire, right? Like, so you got the
Yeah.
kitchen fires, you got the gas fires, you got the fire that can only be put out with water or baking
Right,
soda.
right.
You got to
And they're
pick which
they're
kind of
using the
fire
wrong
you want to put out.
extinguishers. He's like, "Oh, that's a grease fire, don't you?" So I think people need to like. I love it. I love the field. It's always evolving. It's always new challenges. But you have to kind of come in with that mentality. Like you're the person running into the burning building, and you're always going to have to be putting out a fire. And the higher you get, the bigger the fires are. Right. So yeah. So I completely appreciate that. And so like these aren't thin books. Like you're really getting into it, right? So like I admire that as well. Like how do you find the time to, both run your LLC, you're out there talking and doing engagements, and then you're also, writing your material. Like
So,
how's that time budget work for you?
so I could kind of give like a breakdown of what my day usually looks like. So my day-to-day job is with Arctic. They're a technology service provider, right, with three different arms, one in platform engineering, one in modern infrastructure, so data centers, hybrid networking, hybrid cloud, that kind of stuff. And then I focus specifically in the security arm, overseeing that for the US currently. So that takes up my, I'd say around 8 to 4 or 5, right? I'm very intentional about stopping that at those specific marks purely because the work's gonna be there tomorrow, right? I'm not gonna get paid any extra for doing overtime or anything. Cybersecurity salary, right?
Right, right,
um, so make sure I feel accomplished and I get everything done that I need to. The thing about me is, so I have Asperger's, so I hyper focus on a lot of things because I'm on the spectrum. I make sure that none of my work from the current day carries over into the next day. So when I start each day, I'm starting with a clean slate. But when I stop that, I can focus on 6 different things at a time versus when I'm just doing my day job, right? That's my sole focus. So I can get as much done as possible with that. But afterwards, you see, I got my keyboard right here. So I could
right.
be putting some melodies down for a beat that I'm working on for an artist or a movie or a TV show. And at that same time, I'm thinking about, okay, how do I want this chapter layout to look for this next book? Or, I'm working on something called the Tipton threshold for when AI systems or LLMs become too sure of themselves or they hit that kind of convergence of which collapses first, the security and technical component or the human element that it factors into or requires to be in the loop. So after I wrap up the day stuff, it's free game, whatever gets done
Gotcha.
first, whatever's at top of mind and how I'm able to lay it down. But just prioritizing it, man. Because I don't have a family right now, it's let's knock it all out as fast as we can, as well as we can, and then get it all cleaned up before I put it out to the world.
Right. That's a great insight into how your mind processes the daily routine and prioritizes what you are going to do. I like the clean slate because I work on that, but I will carry something over. It's a bad habit I picked up in the military. It's not the military's fault. It's just personality driven, right? I know the work will be waiting for me tomorrow, but I'm like, how much work can I get off the plate, which is usually you're just making room for more stuff, right? So that's an interesting way of putting it. But no, so I think a lot of that stuff ties into a lot of the guests I have on the show. Like we're diving into it's just an innate ability to learn and absorb material, your personal journey, being a neurodivergent professional within space, as well as a veteran, man. Like you're like 3 or 4 different chapters of the book that I wrote. And then on top of you share a lot of qualities with guests I've had where, music is their outlet. Like, I talked to, Elizabeth Stevens, right? She also is neurodivergent and she has a background in music. You have Alan Wesley. I know he talked about music as well. And then, it also goes into legacy. So a lot of like I didn't think specifically legacy when I did sit down to write the material, but I did when I formed the LLC. Like I saw Elizabeth Stevens used the letters of her company are representative of her children, right? So like when I did my LLC RAM, it's Ryan Jr., Ayana, and Mason, right? So that way I wanted to encompass the family in some way,
Yeah.
and still be kind of a cool character that I can use for the logo and whatnot. Because it could have been arm, right? I could have put a bicep on the screen. It didn't really make sense. So I was like, okay, I like it. I like the iconography. There it is, of it all. So no, that's dope. Like a lot of us share a lot of the threads. That kind of cross over. So you have the 3 books. This is part of your legacy. You have another book waiting in the wings to drop. What else would you like to do before you decide to go cross over to the dark side and start building that family? What is another big rock that you want to knock off, or what challenges do you want to overcome?
So a big one that's been weighing on my mind heavy lately is I want to start a nonprofit to make cybersecurity more accessible and put it at the forefront for, teenagers that want to get into it. Because sometimes I go speak at schools and they're like, cybersecurity sounds awesome, but I don't know anything about it, right? I changed my parents' Netflix password, and that's as much as I do. But I want to make it more accessible. Like, perfect example, I have a program with the Nevada Department of Corrections where it's a cybersecurity experience building program. So
Wow. Okay.
offenders that are being reintegrated into society, A
Right.
lot of the times, the reason the recidivism rates are so high is because they get into jobs, right? Not roles, not careers. They get into jobs that don't instill confidence in them, right? If I've spent years incarcerated and I get out and the only thing that's available for me is a job working at a gas station where people don't respect me and I don't feel like I'm doing anything to progress myself, I'm going to end up falling back into the same trends that got me where I was at before, right? So I really wanted to help them with that. So reached out to NDOC and I was like, hey, is this a program that, you all would be open to? And they loved it, right? The way we teach them IT fundamentals and then we help them get certified and then we partner with a couple Fortune 100 companies to get them internship opportunities so that way when they are fully released, they have that experience, they have that hands on knowledge, they have, the understanding of the foundational concepts that make them more competitive and instill a little bit more of that confidence in them, right? And that means the world to me because my pops was locked up for 17 years, right? He got released when I was 25 years old.
Okay.
And I don't think I would have gotten the version of him back that I did if it wasn't for programs like these, right? He's
I
a
see.
deep sea
Okay.
welder right now.
That
Exactly right. And I
and
want
welding is a amazing career.
exactly
Okay.
right. And
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
it's because of programs like that, right? And I want other people, other children to be able to get their parents back and say, I'm proud of what my parent does. I'm proud that I got them back and they feel confident in themselves and they're doing something that they're proud of, right? And if I can be a part of that, even if it's just a small part, I feel like I did my part,
Yeah.
right?
No, that's great. And you're definitely spitting facts. Like, so my undergrad is in psychology, so I wrote a paper also about the felon check box, right? And how that does not help with recidivism as well, because now they can't progress because a lot of states make it mandatory to, to check that box, and that does not allow them to progress. That's amazing. Like you're actually fixing or being a part of the solution to help fix that issue, right? Because we always talk about there being a talent shortage. Like, well, you're gonna have to ease up on these, discriminators, because you have a fully qualified candidate right here who can do the job. It's not that's some yeah, that's awesome.
And then, it helps push the cybersecurity community forward in the aspect of okay, even if you don't want to lower the requirements for some of the roles, then the candidates that do have the experiences that don't have that background, we push them into those roles and open up the more private sector roles
Right.
that don't have as many stringent requirements for these people that are dedicated. And I set requirements for the program like we don't let anybody in that has a background in fraud, no violent backgrounds, nothing that's gonna stand out as an extreme red flag for working in cybersecurity,
Right.
right? But sometimes some of these people are in there because they got the short end of the stick. Some of them are in there because they made a poor decision that landed them in there, but that doesn't mean that they need to be viewed as a leopard for the rest of their lives, right?
Right, right, 'cause what the purpose like, that's the problem I always had with it. The purpose is correction. It's not forever punishment. It's like, what was the point of doing the time if I'm gonna be, locked out of society for the rest of my life? So, no, that's
Exactly.
great. That's great that you're man, like, listen, you're doing the God's work with that one. Like, that's an amazing program. So I definitely want to highlight that, if you have any promo or any links for volunteers or, just how people can help you to keep that going, because I think that's awesome. Everything you're doing is awesome, but I don't that one really touches my heart.
I appreciate
Again, like I asked you, what your goals were, and that's an amazing program. Uh, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you're doing right? You're, again, cybersecurity architect, a music producer. You're, you're working with community programs or outreach programs. I guess you would categorize those with helping inmates secure great great jobs, great careers. What else are you doing that I'm not tracking?
Let's see. So recently, I want to say what about a week or two ago, released a crime drama novel. The
Awesome. Okay,
reason,
so now you're a multi genre author. That's a hard one because
the reason that I did that, and it's kind of to what we were talking about before, right? Like I've lived a couple lives already, but I feel like anybody that releases an autobiography, they're either dead or really close to it.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, I can't release an autobiography, but my life's been interesting enough to where the backing for the crime drama novel, like his past experiences, his childhood traumas, the way he thinks, the way he approaches situations and everything, I pulled directly from my life. So literally all I had to do was come up with the present day events that he's experiencing. So I released that and that's been amazing. We're in the UK top 10
Okay.
releases. We're New York Times. We're on track to be a New York Times bestseller.
Oh, that's
So that's
dope.
going to
Yeah.
be a nice one.
So that's
I'm
not
work-
under your label then. Is that like who's the publisher of that book? Because I didn't see it on your author page on Amazon.
so that one self-published through Amazon.
Okay.
It's
So
just
I must
the
have just
reason
missed it. Yeah.
I put it in as its own like individual series because I didn't want people
Okay.
thinking, okay, this guy, is he gonna make a book about cyber? Is he gonna
Yeah, yeah,
make
yeah.
like a crime drama
Okay.
novel about cybersecurity? No, I wanted to
That's
make
that's
it
really smart.
completely different.
Yeah. Okay. No,
So
so I
that,
definitely like I already want to have you back on the show anyway, but I definitely have to have you back on to talk about that specifically because
oh
I
yeah,
know it's hard to jump genre, right? Like you're already kind of expressing how you have to disassociate it from your other work, right? Because the people are just like, well, he's a cybersecurity guy. Like, why I want to read this? But also just to be able to refocus, right?
yeah.
Like that shift. Because I, in my mind, I have another book, but it's also dealing with cybersecurity and uh, a slight was it a side quest where I want to teach people how to publish because it's really hard at least from my perspective to self-publish, right? There's a lot of learning, so I would like to release a little guide about that, but just that pivot, right, kind of breaks my brain. It's like like this is technical and this one is a little bit more of the
Life
self-help.
skills.
Yeah, life skills. So even that, like, as I'm writing, I'm like, nah, sounds too much like the other book. Like, I gotta, reframe it because it serves a different purpose. So that's awesome. I definitely have to pick your brain about that. But before I let you go, like, because this is an awesome conversation, but I always like to land on what people are doing outside of work. I think the crime novel is outside of work, but we're gonna categorize that as work. All right. So
Let's see.
just so I can get a full break, right? So what what are you doing, to pursue, whether it be to, get that peace of mind or, just to, take some time for yourself? Because a lot of your initiatives are for others, right? Like you're doing great work when it comes to, helping the community, to help people break into cybersecurity, helping people who, are incarcerated, into a new career path. What are you doing for, Tim Tipton Jr.? Or not, right? Like some people are, like hyper focused in that regard to helping others. As I I hope you take some time for you, right?
So there's a few things that I do. The simple ones are always, I prioritize my mental and physical health. So I go to the gym every day, sometimes even twice a day. I have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu,
Oh,
so I
okay.
enjoy being able to do that.
Gotcha.
And then I coach youth sports for the city. So
Okay.
it's always fun for me to get out there and I primarily coach flag football. So I get out there and it's the perfect age. It's 12 and 14 U.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna
So
ask what's the U what? Like U12? Okay.
it's the kids that, are thinking about whether they want to be in contact football, but they're still competitive. And I love the drive, especially because the parents have to pay for them to be in the league. So the parents are always invested, making sure they go to the practices and everything. And it's just nice for me to get out there and see them. And then sometimes I'll yell at them and I'll be like, run faster. If they talk back, all right, go give me a lap while I talk to everybody else since you don't want to listen right now. But
Right.
that's always so rejuvenating to me because there's nobody on this earth that's more honest than children are. They have zero filter. Like there was one kid First season of me coaching, he comes up to me and he asks me, "Why are you single?" And I was like,
Like,
"How
mind
do
your
you?"
business.
I was like, "How do you even know that I'm single?" He was like, "Because you're doing this on a Tuesday night and a Thursday night, and we sometimes have practice on Friday nights, and
Man,
you
he
never have a
profiled you.
girl out here with you." And I was like, all right, man. Maybe I'm just trying to find the right girl. And he was like, you aren't searching hard enough. You read me for filth, bro. You got it."
Man, yeah, that's true. They don't have a filter. That's why I don't mess with that age range, right? Like I go to at some point I'll have to, but I they do the Great American Teach-In every year, right? So I go to my son, my youngest child's right. He's fifth grader this year, so I go for the to the fifth graders and talk about cyber, and you see that them light up because they again have not heard of it or they don't understand like what it takes to get into it or to think about it, right? Like you think doctors, you think okay, medicine, you think you know mechanic. Okay, I need the tools in my hands. You think cybersecurity? You're like, I don't. That's so abstract. So it's cool to talk to him. But yeah, at some point I'm going to get to the age range, right? Because I go to his like some point he's going to be 12. He's going to be 14. I'm like, these kids are ruthless at this age.
Be like, "Are you a hacker?" And then when they hear about the whole music production thing, and they hear that I have a Grammy and everything, and they hear that I produced for like Record of
Bro,
Ragnarok and stuff.
did you just drop that in the middle of a sentence? You have a Grammy?
Yeah, so I worked on Chris Brown's project.
Which which project and what year did you get this Grammy?
11, so this year actually.
Okay. Congratulations. That's a
Appreciate it,
that's a
man.
dope project. Like I have no musical talent. I cannot dance. I have no rhythm. I love music. Like from, Motown, listen to my grandmother's music all the way up to current. And he's like Chris Brown aside there's a few vocalists, but there's not a lot
That
of
can
like
touch him, man.
true artists, right? And like his music is phenomenal. Like, there's drama, Chris Brown and what have you, but I'm like he's like, and I hate to overhype it, right? So I know somebody's gonna listen, somebody's gonna punch the radio, but he's kind of this generation's Michael Jackson, right? Like he has crazy talent. He's a real lyricist. He sells out arenas, right? Like he was just here in Tampa.
Effortlessly.
Yeah, he just sold out Raymond James, right? Like if it wasn't like in years to come, people will forget about nonsense and what have you. But like, he's on track. He's definitely on
It,
track.
it's one of those things to where if I don't even have to try and I can get your girl to pay $1,100 just to take a
Right.
picture with me,
Right.
like you got to put some respect on my name at that point.
Yeah, it's almost like Michael would touch people and they fall out in the crowd. He's almost there. It's pretty crazy. And he dropped a track. What is it? Man, is it Blindfold? Is that what it's called?
That's what we talk about.
Holy Blindfold. I hear that song and I think Michael Jackson. It's crazy. I said it to somebody. They looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, no, man. Like again, I don't have musical talent. I don't produce music and things of that nature. I hear songs and I can be like, okay, that sounds like a Michael Jackson joint. That sounds like um Luther Vandross joint. Right? Certain people that's a Marvin Gaye joint. It's Aretha Franklin joint. There's certain people who invoke those older artists, and I'm like, yo, he's got some Michael Jackson tendencies, and
He really does, man. And then
that's just my 2 cents. But I'm not a Grammy-winning music producer that's such as yourself. That's dope, by the way. Like that would be like I would start every conversation like I'll pull the Grammy out, put it on the desk, like so. Listen, it had nothing to do with music either. I talk about cybersecurity. It was like so. Listen, I won this Grammy, so I
just be like,
respect
so,
your
so, so what do you need with the RMF?
just had a Grammy just sitting there. No, that's amazing, man. Like so, once you win a Grammy, like,
What do you do with your life
what do
after
you?
that?
Yeah,
Hey,
like
you,
so.
you
You have other projects that you're working on? Like, I don't want you to like, you might have NDAs or something like that, but I assume that like they're like, okay, this guy obviously has the chops. He's been doing the thing. He's involved with these particular artists. He's won a Grammy for what he does. Like, so I assume that people are lining up. Like, hey, I need some of this production.
so That's the best part about being in Vegas. The music community out here is so big.
Yeah.
So I get to work with a lot of the up and coming artists. But at this point in my music career, I get to be selective about who I work with, right?
Okay.
Similar to, any other aspect or approach that I take in my life. I like being able to say, okay, I'm at this point. Win a Grammy, in my eyes, it's okay, keep pushing, keep striving as if I
Gotcha.
didn't just win that, right? Keep going as if I have to win another.
No, that's dope, man. I do appreciate your humility. Like that should have been in the intro. Like I'm just like, I can't go back. I can't go back. But it should have been everything that you do in cyber. Oh, by the way, he also is Grammy Award winning. No, that's truly dope. Like I like that. That's why I don't do too much research, right? Because I like to be surprised. But that feels as though I should not have glossed over. You should be Birdman right now. You should be like, you should put some respect on my
Some
name.
respect on my name.
No, that's truly dope, man. So, like, you honestly, your time management is master god tier level, right? For you to be able to fit all that stuff in, because like you're not. I don't see how you could squeeze that in there. But at the same time, like you have to be pretty masterful of your calendar and your time. So, like, hey, kudos to you. Like that in itself. Like, I'm not telling you what to write, but that should be a book. Like how I managed my schedule to do all these things.
So
Like,
that's actually going to be a part of two books that I'm looking to release in 2026. One is going to be just a general leadership book, right? Because you don't see leaders the way we do in the military, right? The military just creates a different breed of leaders. But I have this other book that I'm working on. It's going to be called The Seven Principles of Gravity.
okay.
And those principles all relate to, so for an example, without giving too much away, so that way people
Right,
still
yeah,
want to
don't
be
get the
inside
secret
of later.
sauce.
One is going to be professional gravity, right? And that professional gravity is, what do you exude from a professional standpoint or domain that attracts others to you, right? So the way you behave as a professional, your work ethic, the way you communicate, your leadership style, that draws people to you in a manner to where they're just like, I don't care what this guy is doing, I'm just gonna follow him or get closer to him so that way I can either, instill some of that in myself or be a part of what he's creating. And there's an example that I'm using in there where when you combine a couple different principles of gravity, you get a multi-dimensional person.
Okay.
And one example is, and people are going to lose their minds once they read it, but look at somebody like Charles Manson, right?
Right, that
Cult leader,
charisma.
cult
Yeah,
leader, right?
right,
He was a multi-dimensional character, granted in
right.
a negative direction, but you have to be multi-dimensional to get people to just want to follow you into doing something that outlandish,
Right.
right?
Yeah, that brings to mind, like, Jim Jones, like, people drinking the Kool-Aid. You're like, "Hold on, man." Like, the first person drinks it, okay, they didn't know. Like, when
But
people are
you
laid out, like, "Hey, hold up."
You get a whole estate full of people. You get hundreds of people that just
Right.
want to follow you into doing something this crazy. You have to have you have to have an immense level of these principles of gravity for those people to just be attracted to what you're doing.
That's very interesting. Like, I think that not only would that be a great read, but also I think because yes, I think the military does a really good job because they have that time and space. And as I venture into the corporate side of the house, it's they do have classes and they have mentorship and things of that nature, but it's never to like. I tell people, like, I had to know a human being's like life story, background. Do they have their shots? Are they taking care of their responsibilities, paying their bills, right? And it sounds like babysitting, but it's more than that. Like I have a having a connection with a person that deep, you never get that when you get out. Like so, I tell people like they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to get out." Like I get it, like because at some point everybody is like, "Yo, it's time to go." But cherish that type of stuff because you're never going to get that type of stuff again. I said a lot of negative stuff, but it's also like their highs as well, right? Make sure that they have time for to spend with their kids. What's their currency, right? Is it like, time with their family? Like, you get to really learn a person through and through when you're in the military and have that leadership role. And you don't really get that ever again, right? Because, hey, at the end of the day, HR take care of you. Like, I'm going to try
And
to motivate you, but if we need a new person,
and that was probably the best part of tying into the whole time management thing. I was a first shirt before I got out. So
gotcha.
being able to care for all those people while still doing my job, while
Right.
going to XYZ meetings, balancing all of this, you don't have, to your point, you don't have to worry about all of that once you get out. So you just feel like there's a lighter load for you to be able to focus on. Step Brothers, right? I remember watching Step Brothers, and he's like, there's so much room for activities now.
All right.
There's so much time for activities.
Right. Yeah, yes, absolutely. And you're feeling it well, right? You're not some people kinda just don't know what to do with that space, right? And they just start doing whatever, but you seem to be, like, not just seem to be, but you're very structured. And yeah, I can't wait for you to drop that book, because I think a lot of people not only need to read that and to understand it, but also it points right back to you, right? Like, not only are you a cybersecurity leader and architect, visionary, but also a thing or two about mentorship and leadership. So then that's just another feather in your cap, because people definitely need to start picking up what you're putting down, because I'm thoroughly impressed, and I already knew a lot of this stuff.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, keep it going, like, because you're definitely leading from the front. So, like, now I'm just like, I gotta get that book going. I was like, man, Tim over here is dropping like he's gonna drop like 6 books in 3 years. I'm gonna need to pick up the pace. All right.
And
Uh,
plus, biggest thing is each book is worth 50 CEUs. So the more
there it
books I
is.
release, the less seminars I gotta attend to keep my certs.
No, no doubt. Like, that's a kind of, it's funny, but it's also kind of like satirical funny in that it's like, how'd you get your CEUs this year? Man, I had to write a book. Like, I don't want that, sir, if I gotta write a book to keep it. But hey, like, for some people, everybody has a different route to get their CEUs. Yours is is writing
So you know
writing
the way you
novels.
do it. The way you do it, while you got the time, get the books all built out, right? And then start dropping them every time your cert needs to renew. So if you finish 6 books this year, only drop one each year, so that way, boom, you get your CEUs when your CISSP roll back around.
Right. Yeah, because it is getting tough, man. Each year I'm just like, "Oh, man, I'm getting closer to that deadline." But no, thank you. Thank you very much for listening to my rambling, man. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for, again, being such a patient and gracious guest. I'm glad that we're able to connect and get you on, and I definitely wanna get you back on the podcast,
Of
because you
course.
are working on so many things. I want to highlight that. I want people to see it, and then hit up all the places that you are and where you're doing your thing, as well as like, hopefully it could find you some uh volunteers or some people who can help you with your other projects, because I think it's dope that you're helping people reintegrate back into society, right? Because it is really hard to get back into the fold and especially be productive. So kudos to you on that one. But please continue to listen to the podcast. Again, this is the Thursday episode of The Other Side of the Firewall. We are now syndicated, so you can catch us on DJY 99.1 FM out in the Atlanta metro area. We're also on Channel 10 in public access in DC and Fairfax. And then your podcast platform of choice. We switched up the format a little bit, so it's not dropping every day, but we have the same amount of content. We just drop it all at one time, because your boy over here is not as good with the schedule as Tim Tipton over here. But also just trying something new out. Keep it locked. Hit up the websites to go by our name. They're ramcyber.io, one-stop shop where you get all the things. Just renewed the website, fresh coat of paint, as well as the other side of the firewall.com, where you can pick up the book. And where can they find you, Tim?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Tim Tipton Jr. You can find me at my website, timtiptonjr.com. You can find me on Amazon as an author. You can find me on my music production website, fadedfamofficial.com. You can find me somewhere enjoying some nice nature and a good anime. But
There it
make
is.
sure make sure you pick up your copy of the other side of the firewall. It's more important than
No, man, don't, you can't
cybersecurity.
plug my
On
stuff.
some riff, I'm plugging your stuff, man. I'm plugging your stuff. Pick up the other side of the firewall. Be on the
I
lookout for
appreciate
some
it.
collab projects between me and Ryan Williams Sr. We're gonna have some crazy stuff coming for
I
you.
appreciate it, man. Very, very humbled and honored.